It's another Saturday. Thanks for staying tuned to your station, the Africa Television, and welcome to your program, Security Watch Africa. On this program today, as always, we will give you information you need to keep your life. You need to keep your life safe and secured. Thanks for staying tuned. My name still remains Patrick Abambu. Today is another exciting edition. We're going to be giving you that which we believe you'll get the necessary information you need. But just watch. Let's just show you a little clip from what we stumbled into.
Practical knowledge of the theoretical thing that have been taught in the classroom. Afternoon.
You're welcome to Nigerian Military School Geography Garden. I am NMS 16295, Boy Private Musa Zakaria Jibo. This is an initiative by Amebu Commandant, Major General M. Bunza, to bring a theoretical geography into practical display. May I have a permission to acquaint you some of the models in our geographical garden? So,
Caron.
it was designed in the year 1818 by a man named Thomas Stevenson. It is used for house weather instrument by the use of the barometer and the thermometer. It is painted white to reduce the amount of distortion when measuring the elements. This is called the rain gauge. It's used to calculate the amount of rainfall. So, at this junction, we have permission to hand over to the next person.
Caron. Yes, Palai.
The models before us depict the map of Africa and the map of Nigeria, showing both reliefs and drainages in Nigeria. This color on the map depicts lowland, while this depicts highlands. The blue lines on the map are the major rivers in Nigeria. This is the North Central Plateau. This is the Western Upland, the Eastern Upland, the Udi Hills. These are famous River Niger and River Benue, River Kaduna, River Hadeja and River Komandugu, River Ogun, River Oshun and River Ose, the Niger Delta and the Cross River. Sir, it may interest you to know that the highest point in Nigeria it is the Chapal Wadi in Adamawa State. It is 2,419 meters above sea level. This way, sir.
This is just a teaser, really. We'll be bringing you a detailed report on what the Nigerian Army is doing. You can see those children, they are in the secondary school, but their knowledge of geography is exceptional. I would decide to tease you with that because the knowledge of geography is very, very essential for proper military strategy and planning of operations. And there is hope for Nigeria because with these young ones in secondary school understanding the depth of geography, then I'm sure that there is hope for a Nigerian military. And that is courtesy of the ingenuity of the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General T.Y. Buratai, and the Commandant of the Nigerian Military School, Major General Bunza. Really, by next week, we'll be bringing you a detailed report of how the school is being revolutionized, changing to ensure that Nigeria never lack able men to help us protect our security, talking about military-wise. So, but let's continue in that state because we also stumbled into another important idea or innovation of the Chief of Army Staff, what he's doing in terms of helping to fight insurgency and terrorism. You know, in the past, what we're used to is the military attacking these people, shooting and killing them and complaining about the communities not supporting. But General Buratai has changed that. And now the communities are helping now because the military is giving back, the army is giving back to them. Sit back as we give you this report.
It's not only known for war fighting, but we're also known for our humanitarian intervention. And in certain communities, in certain areas where conflict, especially in the areas of insurgency, one of the tactics of the insurgents is to win the populace to themselves by giving them some incentives Equally, they can, if that doesn't work, they coerce the population, the locals, to themselves by force. And in order to, counter that, the military, apart from its war fighting efforts, must also take steps, to win the people, to win their confidence, and for them to be able to support the government efforts.
Speaking earnestly from his heart, the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Chukwuso Buratai, charting a new policy direction for the Nigerian Army, which is aimed at fighting a scourge of insurgency, terrorism, banditry, and all forms of criminality that Nigeria currently is facing. The Nigerian Army, since the assumption of office by General Buratai as the Chief of Army Staff, has identified some of the major causes of insecurity bedeviling the country as systematic neglect of the people by governments at all levels over the years, which has resulted to decay or lack of basic infrastructures, especially in the rural areas of Nigeria. Religious and ethnic extremism, hunger, and most disturbing is the lack of basic education for children over the years, which would have helped to shape the minds of the children before they become adults. Some of these, the Nigerian Army has undertaken to render helping hand in various operations they have carried out or still carrying out. The Lieutenant General T.Y. Buratai-led Nigerian Army has over the years renovated, remolded, and even built and equipped schools or classrooms in host communities where they have been deployed to maintain peace and order. This gesture by the Nigerian Army is part of its civil-military cooperation activities geared towards winning the hearts and minds of the populace, particularly their host communities. The Wari Uwia community in the oil-rich Niger Delta, where this school is located, is indeed a testimony of how the Nigerian Army intervention in education has turned around what used to be a dilapidated structure to one of the best primary schools in Nigeria. The school was renovated, remodeled and equipped with modern teaching and learning facilities that today makes it an envy to other schools.
It was really a big mess before now, to the extent that we lost so many pupils at concerning admission. Our admission got so much reduced that we were even crying over it. As I can say, in Delta State as a whole, I think Army Children Primary School is the best for now, in terms of security and everything.
Setsegi and Lekima communities in the Musa local government area and Jaminawa village in Malumfashi local government area, both in Katsina State, northwestern part of Nigeria, are some of the recent beneficiaries of the Lieutenant General T.Y.-led Nigerian Army's determination to end the scourge of terrorism, insurgency, banditry, and all other forms of criminality through the provision of basic education in Nigeria. These communities are kilometers away from the town. Their main occupation is farming and animal husbandry, while their children are neglected without any form of formal education. The Nigerian Army, through its educational intervention, has built and furnished these nomadic primary schools in these communities to give hope and better life to the children of these farmers and herders who have never been opportune to see the four walls of a formal school. The Army today is handing over these nomadic primary schools to the Katsina State government for administration and management.
I feel fulfilled because this is a project that is noble to the people, the nomadic Fulanis, especially that are living here. It is a project that has been very absent in their lives, and the two Army staff felt, look, education is a way of solving security problems. So if we are doing our work as soldiers, as part of civil-military relationship, we can also build such kind of schools. And more so, with such kind of projects like this, is a way of winning the hearts and minds of the populace.
The governor of Katsina State, Aminu Bello Masari, in an exclusive interview with Security Watch Africa, lauded the efforts of the Nigerian Army in the state, especially in the area of security, and pledged the state government's determination to sustain the two nomadic schools built by the Army.
One good thing about the school is that I didn't know of its existence until it was completed. How Buratai was able to locate this village to build these two schools, I don't know. So I give credit to his people that are here, and clearly it showed that the military is not only fighting with arms and ammunition, is also fighting through education, which brought us to where we are, lack of education. If to say the hardest, and everybody is educated, so for them to get what to do and to know right from wrong, you wouldn't believe. Some do not know they have broken the law until they are arrested.
With the donation of these nomadic primary schools by the Nigerian Army, it is expected that governments at all levels will see the need to key into this laudable initiative of Lieutenant General Tukusu Buratai of giving children basic education to create a more secure environment tomorrow.
B-O-Y. B-O-Y. Boy. Boy. B-O-O-K. B-O-O-K. Book. Book. B-O-Y. B-O-Y. Boy. Boy. I-R-O. I-R-O. Iro. Iro.
Ernest Enuneku, Security Watch Africa, Castina State.
The major problem that have aggravated the issue of insecurity in the country, like you had the Chief Security Officer of Katsina State, is lack of education. When people know that what they're doing is wrong, then they may not follow that path. Really, we must commend this initiative by the Chief of Army Staff and all his lieutenants that are supporting him to ensure that this war against terrorism and insurgency is fought, that the root cause of it is taken care of. Kudos to the Nigerian Army and all those that are making effort to ensure that this is done effectively. Yes, last week we did show you a clip of what happened in Dubai during the 16th Africa Security Watch Awards conference. Today we'll bring you a report of the conference proper. Sit back.
The security of the continent of Africa has been the focal point of the African Security Watch Awards and Conference since its inception in the year 2004. It is usually the gathering of security experts of African origin from across the globe and non-Africans who see the need for a secured Africa. The 2019 edition, which was the 16th edition of African Security Watch Awards and Conference, was hosted in Dubai, United Arab Emirates, with the aim of identifying security problems affecting Africa and her people, discuss these problems and proffer actionable solutions that will forge a way forward for the continent. The yearly event has a lecture series which was introduced in 2005 with the aim of drawing from the wealth of experienced security decision makers and professionals both within and outside the continent in its quest to propagate African security and its complexities. The 2019 conference has as a theme Global Security Outlook, Challenges, Impediments, and Prospect for a Secured Africa. Dignitaries and participants to the conference lecture series was welcomed by the President, Chief Executive Officer of Security Watch African Initiative, Mr. Patrick Abambu. Mr. Abambu urged participants not to hold back their views and be open to share with fellow Africans ideas that will bring an end to the security challenges the continent is facing. During the conference, there were opening remarks, keynote addresses, and presentations of 5 papers that dwelled on African safety and security issues. The conference had 2 sessions, which was chaired respectively by Brigadier General Joseph Nuno Mensah, retired, who also served as the Chairman Board of Trustees of Security Watch Africa Initiative, and Brigadier General Husseini Ahmed, Acting Provost Marshal, Nigerian Army, while Brigadier General Sani Usman, retired, served as a rapporteur. The first paper was presented by Professor Willimus Breitenbach, Emeritus Professor of Political Science, Stellenbosch University, South Africa, with the topic Historic Perspective to Leadership and Security in Africa. Participants were taken down memory lane to really understand their past if they must find a lasting solution to their problems.
African leadership was decided that by 2063, exactly 100 years after the formation of the Organization of African Unity, we should be able to hoist one flag, and that is the African flag, African Unity flag, where the 54 states might become provinces, might become districts, or whatever. Boundaries, as we know, would have disappeared. The disappearing of boundaries issue is a very important one from a security point of view.
The second paper, Combating Terrorism and Insurgency Through Non-Kinetic Approach, was delivered by Major General Usman Shehu Mohammed, Chief of Civil Military Affairs, Nigerian Army. He explained to the audience that winning the war on terrorism and insurgency can be effectively achieved through winning the hearts and minds of the people, majorly because these evil menaces thrive on wrong ideologies that must be corrected by all means possible.
These quick impact projects is not just within the locality where we have the insurgency taking place. We have a problem back in my country whereby most people think the insurgency is just concerning the Northeast and it's their problem. So we also want to bring everybody on board and let them know that, look, this is a Nigerian project and it's a problem for the whole country, and we must do everything possible to support the troops and support the country to defeat insurgency. So quick impact projects have also been conducted outside the theater of operations.
Combating Security at Sea, the African Experience, was the third paper and was presented by Professor Henry Fouché, an associate professor at Stellenbosch University, South Africa, exposing to participants the level of insecurity that happens on the waters of Africa, which is said is the major means of transporting both light and heavy illegal firearms in and out of Africa.
If we can bring down the number of incidents in port, we can concentrate on high seas piracy, which takes place far off the coast. I've just mentioned in brackets here that piracy can take place only in an area beyond the jurisdiction of any state, and those attacks in the anchorages and ports are taking place on the sovereign territory of the states, where every law of the state applies. 70 people kidnapped, and so on. The Gulf of Guinea is the highest risk area for seafarers. 86% of the crew taken hostage, and over 80% of the kidnappings occurred in the Gulf of Guinea. Lagos was had the highest number of incidents in any port in 2019.
The fourth paper, The Effects of Regular and Irregular Migration on National Security, the Gambian Experience, was delivered by Mr. Buba Senya, a former Director General, Gambian Immigration Services and member of Security Watch Africa Initiative's Board of Trustees. He shared his experience as the head of the Gambia Immigration Service and how his country was able to solve some of its border problems.
In my country, whatever we are doing, we do it combinedly. The immigration, the health, the police, fires, national disaster, NDA, drug squad, name it, and the Navy. Because sometimes when a matter is in the sea, we don't have those facilities. It is the Navy that will go and get them. And when they come, we process them, documentation. You have the intelligence who will definitely dig into their matters to know exactly what is the problem.
The final paper, Combating Transnational Crimes Through Counter-Extremism Approach, was delivered by Dr. Barend Prislow, a senior researcher, Security and Management Studies, Northwest University, South Africa. He outlined measures the continent can adopt to help solve some of its security challenges.
Stop our regional disorganization. I talked about the migration versus hard borders and the ambiguities of terms and security responses. The thing about the legal definition for something is that it allows you to do the right response as well. All right? If it's classified as it's like a homicide versus a murder versus a suicide, my response is different. It's still a person that has died, but my response differs. And if we can make the response the same throughout the region, then we've achieved a whole lot of things. And it will allow us to be coordinated. This coordination will leave the building. And that will allow us to take charge of our security and also our political destiny.
The African Security Watch Awards and Conference 2019 was more interactive than ever, as questions were asked, bordering on several issues that needed clarifications, and the resource persons did provide answers to these questions.
Today, my little country, which is called Benin, has created so much insecurity in the sub-region for Nigeria, and we are glad that President Buhari have taken the greatest step to stop it. Today, the crime has reduced from 2.7% since the closure of the border of Benin. That is something to thank President Buhari. This is the first time in the history a country like Benin, when they closed our border, the people of the country clapped. They were so happy.
At the end of the elucidating presentations and interactions, a communique was drawn out by the reporter, Brigadier General Sani Usman, retired, and was read out to a larger audience during the awards conferment ceremony.
Then we need to collaborate and share information in border security management. It is beyond even border and security management, and I think a lot is being done. Take, for instance, the fight against terrorism and insurgency. We have the multinational joint task force, which General Adeoshin has the privilege of commanding once before he became the chief of policy and plans in the army. So there is kind of movement. It is better, and just like Buba has said, with proper collaboration and information sharing, the security will equally be improved. So issue of competition and all the rest of them should not take precedence above the well-being of the people. And there is need to take care of the border communities to enable them to be more security conscious. There are some of these African countries, they neglected some of their border communities, that their allegiance is not even to their own country. They go to hospitals, they go to schools across the other countries. So automatically they will show no challenge attitudes, towards security in their own countries. And of course there is need to review international laws governing border security among African countries. Some of the laws have become obsolete and are impediment to security problems.
Additionally, it was stressed that there should be continuous training programs for stakeholders and security personnel, such as the one organized by Security Watch Africa initiatives. At the end of the conference, it was all agreed that Africa is indeed being confronted with myriads of safety and security challenges that need to be addressed. And to enhance security and economic development, African countries should make concerted efforts to actualize a borderless United States of Africa by 2063. Shirley Daniels, Security Watch Africa, Dubai, United Arab.
Welcome back. That was a report on the conference, the 16th Africa Security Watch conference that took place in Dubai. You had a detailed report of the proceedings that took place. It's available, and we're providing it to all the governments in Africa through the African Union for actions to be taken. And we must collaborate for us to be able to collectively tackle our security challenges. It's very, very important. Yeah, quickly. One part of Nigeria that seldom reported in the media in terms of security on what is being done is especially the Zone 10, the Zone 11 command of the Nigerian police, which is in Sokoto State, Zone 10, which is in Sokoto State. Security Watch Africa decided to visit the Assistant Inspector General of Police in charge of that zone to hear from him what is happening in terms of policing of the zone. Sit back as we speak with AIG Mohammed Mustafa.
security situation has now greatly improved. We are all living witnesses to what has been happening in Zamfara. Then later the spillover to Sokoto and to some extent some parts of Kebbi. But with the embracement of peace accord, you know, the disarmament in Zamfara, I think we are now actually, we've experienced a lot of peace, except for just, I think for the first 4 months plus, 4 or 5 months, just the incident of last week or so. I think by and large, as we have, and everybody is happy now. Well, there are always gray areas, you know, normally the rustling, few pockets of rustling are there. But largely the killings have been contained, and I will continue to engage. It's continuous engagement that will give you this absolute peace. So it's a continuous process. Community policing is really, you know, at work, and we are not resting. So continuous. Even last week I was there with the governor and the commissioner of police and all the traditional rulers, the Nsankai, that's the vigilante, the headers. We all had meeting and look at the gray area, and we agreed that on a weekly basis there will be this meeting at the grassroots, which will eventually be.
Welcome back. There is much we can take on that interview, but we'll bring you a report of the detailed interview we had with the AIG in subsequent editions of this program. If you have enjoyed watching us, join us again next week when we'll bring you another exciting edition of this program, maybe from another location in Africa or in Nigeria. Wherever it is, Security Watch is there to bring it to you. Until we come here again next week, bye for now.